No. There we go. There we go. So that means everyone can hear now. Thing is, this isn't. I want that a little bit lower. There we go. I think we're there. I think we're there. Yeah. How about that? Well, what our last 3 days has been. Jesus. I only just wrapped my head around. Do you know the reason I'm playing this game is because, like, the other games I play, your World of Warships, your War Thunder, it's got tyres. I'm not buying anything, man. I think the fuel is going whoa. That game's just minimised itself for some reason. Yeah, they all have tyres. Come on, Ryan, I think I now have guide units and I think Rainbow Six Siege yesterday. I felt guilty. Anything was better. I'll leave them. What? Yeah, I know. Apparently the Ukrainian government neo-Nazis and committing crimes against humanity, apparently. As if Russia's never been partial to that. Irritates me. The reason why it irritates me is because it has the same level of absolute horseshit that the Iraq War had. 2003. Not 91 was validated. That was a legal war, apparently. But the 2003 war was disgusting. Disgusting behaviour by the US and British governments. But and you know, I'll say the Russian leadership, literally Putin. I don't even care if you say Medvedev, you're lying to yourself, because Putin was PM during that period that Medvedev was in power. And if you think Medvedev actually had power, when he speaks now, just adds on to the end. I'm just shut up. You're not an opinion. You're an echo of an opinion. You literally mean nothing. No one actually remembers his presidency as far as everyone just goes Putin. Putin's been in charge for 23 years. Like, you literally mean nothing. What? But they always talk about how the West goes into nation. I'm like, and I'm 100% about that. US and Britain in Iraq, travesty. Afghanistan was a huge failure. Huge failure. But you can't just say that's really bad and you can't encroach on sovereign nations because you think they're doing it wrong. And then go, we're going to invade the rest of Ukraine because they're doing it wrong. I mean, they got away lightly with the first invasion. Annexing Crimea. The other two districts, I can't remember off the top of my head what they were. But it was a shambles of a referendum. No one recognised it. No one. I think what's the word? Participation rate, but the percentage of the population that turned up say anything about voting for it, does it? Right. Just fed up with the double standard from government. All governments. I mean, our Prime Minister has, you know, had a party. It may have been a party. You never know whether it's a party. Police and government is a party. We're in COVID. Right, in fact, for a day, 2 days before the Queen was mourning her husband at his funeral. I mean, you've got to be another league if you're worse than. I mean, she must be like, I don't even want to make it to 100. That poor woman. And here's when people go, oh, she's a millionaire. She's got the crown has assets. Don't get me wrong. And to be honest, it funds itself a lot through its own assets. And I can't. Do you know what? I can't even imagine when people say dissolve the money. I cannot imagine the state, the government having control over the royal assets. I mean, I could say it. The Conservatives are my least hated party. Yeah, least hated political party in the UK. Like Labour, I'm just last Labour leader I liked was Corbyn. That says everything. And I didn't like his policies, but I liked his attitude. Oh, I say I didn't like his policies. She just must be like, please end it. Her son is involved in a £12 million settlement. Says he's definitely not a nonce. Definitely not a nonce, and was not involved with a nonce. There was no noncing. 100%. Absolutely no noncery. Right? She's got a PM who parties when her husband's dead. And now she's seeing her second war in Europe. She must be absolute. Oh, she ain't gonna make it. She ain't gonna write herself a letter, is she, for 100. She won't want to make it. She's like, Charles, can you do this? I've had enough. Oh, I'd have had enough. These absolute numpties. I thought I had some. I mean, I've done studies on post-communist Russia. It was part of my university course, and in no part of that was. I mean, there is some elements apparently of Russian society, and I'm not Russian, so I can't speak for them. Can't speak for anyone in Russia. I mean, Russia has like a ridiculous amount of minority and ethnic groups, just obscene amounts. Like I don't know how you cater to that in the democratic political system, which it on paper barely is, and in practice really doesn't seem it. Like I look at that and go, I looked there and thought, you know, how the hell do you juggle this? But I never found anything that was like, oh, top tier of Russia. Although the high tier list is NATO. Which there was forwarded for integration to the Russian Federation. As far as I'm aware, it was. You know, it was put forward to them whether they wanted to join post Cold War. Big no. Big no. I mean, to be honest, it kind of lost its purpose after that. And you know, NATO at the end of the 20th century, everyone looked at it and went, "Do we need that anymore?" To be honest, it's only really been since Putin in power that NATO's gone, shit, maybe we do. And that's because every time someone's joined the EU, I mean, we've left the EU. The United Kingdom has left the European Union, and there's plenty of countries in Europe that are not members of the European Union. And I can completely understand why post-communist Eastern European states would want to join the European Union. They want and there is significant economical growth benefits from being in the EU, especially as, I mean, Ukraine is still a mainly agricultural nation. Mainly has huge industry left over from the Soviet era. Oh, I forgot this bit's pretty loud. I don't know why this is so terrible. Security something. They call it a security maneuver. So let me have a look, and then I'll put you on the. Let me change the inputs. Camera specific window, and I want that. Yeah? That. Oh no. Doesn't like that. No? We're not gonna. I've got to find some of these videos. Hey, here we go. Oh, why is it there? Right, okay, I can't get it to completely center, but that'll do. Oh my god, I forgot about PvP Cat. Great little channel on Red Dead Online. Yeah, great little channel on Red Dead Online. And yeah, Ukrainian. God, when he sent out that message. Ukraine's resistance attempt. Yeah, apparently I've held him outside the city. Klitschko. So I believe he's the mayor of Kiev, and his brother, the heavyweight boxer. And yeah, he was all strapped up. All of them are fine. The previous president of Ukraine had an AK in his hand, speaking to Sky News. Just like, what? Honestly. See, that's not a military target, is it? Just don't talk shit. This can't be a military target. Unless there's a sniper possibly in there. But still, you evaluate that situation. We didn't... Well, did. To some extent. Bring down buildings with snipers. But we're talking about an established government, not an insurgency like the Taliban. And that went well.
Всім доброго ранку, українці. Зараз в мережі дуже багато з'явилося інформації, що, немов я закликаю складати зброю.
US offered him
Іде евакуації.
extradition.
Я тут.
He said I need ammunition, not a ride.
Будемо захищати нашу державу, тому що
Such a delicate situation though, between, like, they're talking about NATO helping out, and I'm like, that's maybe a support. Fair enough. Can't get direct NATO involvement. Right, driving right into it. Oh my god! This is the thing as well. It's going to be really hard. It's going to be a PR war. Like the amount of digitization we have now. Like, it's like anyone can. I mean, I've seen live streams of like Ukrainian soldiers busting moves to Michael Jackson in the middle of a like firefight. Well, and like never seen that in war before. Well, so it started coming in Afghan. You know, I've seen some like head cam operation in Afghan, but anyone can record anything with a phone in the middle of a battle and throw it on a YouTube, a Vimeo, anything, any platform. I'm reached Kiev. Boris, what's he done now? I do not believe this was in your name. I don't think he is. I mean, you know, a lot of Russians have been arrested for protesting. It's such a... It's what I wouldn't say, although it's more akin to a Hitler-Czechoslovakia move. Like the actual move itself, annexing part of it, then pushing in the rest of the way, seemingly. It definitely seems like a more Mussolini-inspired move, as in, I need to get some good publicity. I need to get a win. Let's do it. You know, that's what, if you look back, Mussolini done in Abyssinia, which is now Ethiopia. I can't remember off the top of my head as an African state. But, you have your own country. But yeah, I mean, he invaded that with the ambition of making himself look good and got his ass handed to him. Damn right, bro. It is fun. Here we are. We're arrived in Estonia. It's just the risk of him joining NATO. I understand the concern of NATO if you're not in NATO. But Russia has the security of nuclear weapons. You really shouldn't concern yourself with invasion. I don't understand how that because if you have nuclear weapons, it's it's you can have limited warfare, and arguably this is still limited warfare. It's a struggle to have all-out war, like an all-out war with that option in your back pocket, and that's why they're supposedly a good idea. Like, and I understand that is that it's supposed to just prevent any of that and just head straight to the negotiating table. It won't be as an advantageous negotiation for anyone if both the parties have such assets. But that just immediately it just cancels out each other. So I don't understand why you need to worry about your border so much when the amount of armament you own is such a high risk that I can't see someone potentially invading Russia. And plenty of people have tried and failed. Right, I think the Mongols are only successful. Oh my god, is that a British officer with a tash? Yes, boy. Still waiting on their upgrade. Ukrainians. That as well. I like to call it SAS, but it's not SAS. You can't state that's SAS. That's just brutal realism. That it keeps being broadcast like of the Ukrainians, like some of the stuff their citizens are doing and coming out with to Russian forces. What? The US aren't even in there. He's actually lost the plot. He's gone full, hasn't he? I really don't understand. They've pissed off all of their neighbours throughout history, and just to piss the last one off completely. I mean, long time coming. It started 2014, and the president of Ukraine decided to piss his citizens off by siding with Russia. If that doesn't show you how much the Ukrainian people don't want you, they literally ousted their president because he signed a trade deal with you. If that doesn't explain how much the Ukrainian citizens do not want Russia involvement. I don't. There are some that do. Don't get me wrong. It's, we're talking democracy here. There's always an element of people that are going to disagree and think it's better. I'm going to guess, arguably, that's for their citizens that are, I'm going to guess, older and remember the USSR and enjoyed having the sense of community that was brought in with that ideology in that state. But I mean, I think you'd struggle to look at Ukraine then and now and think Ukraine was better off then. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Chernobyl's been captured. As long as you don't touch it. Alright? No one wants that. Oh yeah, I think this is a bit of a shambles. They won't pull Swift. EU won't pull Swift out from underneath the Russians. Basically, segregating their economy again, as it was when the USSR existed. Because their ruble didn't transfer into other currency. But I think it's the Netherlands, Germany, someone else, Sweden. Well, Sweden and Finland have just got bloody warnings from Putin. Right. Well, the Finns already hate you, mate. So the Finns have always the Finns hated Russians so bad. Well, not Russians, the state. They might hate Russians, but they hate the state so much. Well, they had a winter war with them, didn't they? Just before 1939. No, 1940. 1940. Apologize. But they hate them so much that in World War II they joined the Nazis. They joined the Nazis just to fight them back. Like, that's hate. That's hatred. That's serious hatred. Russians protest against them. I've got to find this more.
Ukraine's shattered embassy in Moscow, police and a few mournful flowers in solidarity. This woman, though, with placards saying "One people, one fatherland," is all for the war.
Do you think it is okay for Russia to bomb Kiev and Kharkiv?
Никто Киев и Харьков не бомбит. Не надо врать.
Well,
that news is not shown on the
someone
state
is,
channels, but these
at
two
least.
saw it on Instagram and they hate it.
A lot of people think that it's really terrible.
All of us aren't agree with this situation.
That's Lavrov.
Russia's foreign minister met today with representatives of the separatist republics, repeating Vladimir Putin's extraordinary logic that by invading Ukraine, he means to set its people free.
He confirmed it again that we want Ukrainian people to be independent and have a government representing their diversity, have a freedom to not be under full external control of those who encourage neo-Nazism, the genocide of Russians, and using Ukraine as an instrument to suppress Russia.
Sky News asked the foreign ministry if President Putin was in his right
Do you know what
mind.
it irritates me when people make claims? Whoever it is, Russia, America, whatever.
Britain's defence secretary has said
I
that
want evidence.
Putin has gone full tonto.
This is law we're talking about. It's international law.
It's surprising that
you can
such
say that,
evaluations,
but I want
are
evidence
given by
with independent
the Defense
review.
Minister of the UK regarding authorities of a different state.
Independent research.
I think he could have thought
mean-
up of
How
similar
are you not using the UN as a tool?
adjectives,
That's what. Oh, do you know what? I remember studying the UN.
thinking of British
That's
Prime
another thing
Minister,
I
we
had to
talk
do at
about
university. I had to do a
personal,
whole module on the UN.
judgment.
And one of
As
me and
evening
my
falls,
course
police
mates
prepare for
just.
another possible night of protest.
It sounds wrong,
because
but
not
we like
everyone by a
almost
long way
laughed
supports
off
what their government is doing.
one or two of our lecturers because they were just so. They were so adamant the UN was like it was the greatest tool. It could do anything and solve anything. And we were just like, it can't. Don't get me wrong. It is a wonderful tool. And it's a brilliant idea, and it's much better implemented than its previous
Facebook now is
attempt
being
with the League of
restricted,
Nations. Like, it's
and
so
we'll
much
see
better.
which social media platforms are
It's a
squeezed
great
next.
platform for diplomacy, but
Feels
like,
a little
the
like a
fact
rerun
that
of the protests against Alexei Navalny.
UN peacekeeping missions on large not really that successful.
Detained,
Well, they
put in the back of police
sometimes
vans,
are
as
successful in
happened
being
yesterday
peacekeeping,
in
but
more than
the
50 cities
UN
across
really
Russia.
struggles
People coming
to
out against the
transition.
war
I mean, it's a
and probably being
difficult.
arrested.
Don't get me wrong. I know,
But
I
it's
don't-
not stopping
it's
them.
not.
In Moscow, the crowds grew.
I feel it's not used. Like people just overlook it and just go, "Oh, yeah, we'll go over them."
Petersburg too. This anti-war movement has some life.
This is like the Hague is
Diana Magnay, Sky News,
international
Moscow.
court, for international criminal court. But you know, the UN is the platform of where we internationally, cooperatively, you know, check each other's movements. We evaluate each other's foreign policy, sometimes our domestic policy. You know, I still can't believe they let Gaddafi speak there for like 45 minutes on. No, it was longer than that, and he just talked about some crap. I can't even remember what it was, but that was a disaster. I think, in fact, like the dictator, that such Baron Cohen film. basically took the mick out of that when he goes to the UN. Undercover in Europe's last dictatorship. Yeah, Belarus, that other Russian supportive government that's really free. Really free. So much freedom. Everyone has limits on freedom, but
only have 2 prisoners been executed in the run-up to the contest. Scores of human rights activists have been detained, and a correspondent for this program has been deported.
There's a Belarusian master's student as well at my university that was teaching was helping in one of our
Europe's last dictatorship, run by Mr. Lukashenko for the last 20 years and still Moscow's closest ally. Our foreign affairs correspondent, Jonathan Rutledge,
she was adamant that it was a democracy. I was like, isn't. I'm sorry. I'd love to say it is, but it isn't.
It is a land frozen in its communist past. A nation of 10 million people, governed by the same man for the last 20 years. Belarus,
democratically elected, of course.
Alexander Lukashenko. Vladimir Putin's kind of neighbour. One who wishes the Soviet Union still existed. A former chicken farm manager turned vote-rigging dictator.
Который там о диктатуре кричал. Я вот услышав это, подумал, лучше быть диктатором, чем голубым, конечно.
Just as well, he isn't gay then. In a country where gay rights are almost non-existent, where there's no free press. But Belarus, the last country in Europe to execute its criminals by shooting them in the back of the head, has now taken to the world stage. Because the capital, Minsk, is hosting the World Championship of its president's favourite game.
Corruption is so rampant.
This was Alexander Lukashenko
when it comes
greeting
to sports,
Mr. Putin
especially
at an ice hockey rink before the Sochi Olympics.
Don't know how it's taken me
fellow Cold War warriors
this point in my life
skating
to
on
realise.
thin ice before Ukraine began to crack. The Belarusian is a hockey fanatic who is said to forbid other players from bumping into him.
He's a very fit man, very big and strong.
Ice hockey man.
And he keeps fit by playing ice hockey a couple of times a week, apparently. Needless to say, he
You like to play ice hockey,
He's known
don't
as
like
the last
the
dictator.
physicality.
He's building a
It's
lot
like boxing,
of ice
but not like
hockey
getting punched in the
palaces all over
face.
the country.
Well, I say
It's just
not
very
like.
clear that sportsmen are coming to support
Don't
his
accept the risk
obsession.
that you're going to get punched in the head.
The dictator has spent hundreds of millions of dollars welcoming the world to his police state, where any protests are brutally dispersed. And the bison, the national animal of Belarus, has been equipped with an ice hockey stick of its own. The city has been cleared of its drunks and prostitutes, its most troublesome political activists imprisoned for up to 25 days. Not that many of the visiting fans, these are Swiss, seem to know or care.
I love Belarus.
And people are really very friendly, and we thanks for that.
Yes, really.
Oh,
very nice, very friendly,
Swiss.
very funny.
Sitting between the mountain ranges being
good
neutral.
organization, everything is
How
perfect
what it is
here.
to be Swiss.
I took a train into Belarus to see
You have to do
Lukashenko's
national
kingdom for
service,
myself.
but
I didn't get far because border guards ordered me off it. Something wrong with my passport, they said. While I was being deported, our cameraman kept filming, and by pretending not to know me, slipped through their net. Well, I've just arrived back in Lithuania, the closest EU country to Belarus, after Belarusian border guards escorted me off the train there and said that I was not allowed to enter the country. They said there was something on their computer system which meant that I was banned, but they didn't tell me what it was. This is despite the fact that President Lukashenko has said that journalists should be free and unrestricted to report on the ice hockey championship, to which I was accredited. Well, clearly in my case, that is complete and utter nonsense. Prisoners murdered.
got tangent there.
Mr. Lukashenko has told his rubber stamp.
That's what he wants Ukraine looking like, basically. Oh. They know who other people I watch. Love Badger. High tier shit. War in Ukraine will remain square. I'm not sure I want to. Oh, let's see the Russian point of view. I mean, 1,700 got imprisoned in the
Russian state TV coverage of Ukraine today concentrated on the Donbass in the east of the country.
He looks happy.
Viewers
He looks happy where it's
aren't
going.
seeing the enormity of what's happening across the whole of Ukraine as the Kremlin presents its version of this invasion. One of Russia's leading independent journalists told me he's in disbelief.
I'm in deep shock. I can't believe my eyes. I can't believe my ears. And
you end up poisoned or imprisoned, or
really tragic moment for Ukraine, for Russia as well. Russia, from the view of the whole world, is turning into a pariah state like Iran or North Korea.
As the effect of sanctions batters Russia's currency, on the streets they're taking stock of President Putin's decision.
What we thinking?
I think if this is in the interests of Russia, then I support it, this man says.
I think that not all people suppose with Putin, but I don't know. But no, I think that it's a very bad situation, and I want to cry. No.
It seemed like business as usual for the man who's trying to force a new world order. President Putin meeting Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan.
President Putin's plans for invading Ukraine would have factored in sanctions and international condemnation. But the unknown in all of this is whether the strength of the world's response will have any impact. It seems very unlikely.
No to war, they shouted in Moscow tonight and in other cities across Russia. But the police were waiting for them. One spoke of her anger.
I don't agree with what Putin's doing. It's awful. It's immoral. How can you behave like this?
Gestapo, they cried, as the arrests started. Neil Connery, News at 10, Moscow.
Wow. Oh, that was the big surprise. China. A country that's wanted to invade its neighbour for the past 1948. 74 years. They didn't support them in the UN. Big surprise. Not the biggest surprise. I understand why. India didn't. Surprising, because again, they've wanted to invade their neighbours for the past about the same amount of time. Oh, James O'Brien doesn't like the response, possibly because of the amount of Russian money that's in the UK. But we won't talk about that. Maybe.
Street fighting is now happening in Kyiv as Russian forces press on with their assault on Ukraine's capital city. President Zelensky has refused to evacuate Kyiv and is urging Ukrainians to stand firm in the fight for their country. CBS 2's Christina Fan joins us live from the United Nations, where Russia has vetoed a Security Council draft resolution condemning its invasion of Ukraine. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, Cindy. The battle for Kyiv is raging on as we speak. The United Nations says more than 120,000 Ukrainian refugees have fled the country since the invasion began. But President Zelensky is refusing to leave and is urging his country to join him in defiance. Russian forces pounded Kyiv with heavy artillery overnight as they inch closer to the Ukrainian capital. Fighting has spilled onto the streets. Video shows a missile striking an apartment building early Saturday morning. Ukrainian troops are fighting back, saying they destroyed this Russian convoy on the outskirts of the city. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is vowing to stay put in the capital and fight on, rallying Ukrainians to defend their nation. The president reportedly refused an offer from America to evacuate, saying he needs more ammunition, not a ride. Ukrainian TV is even airing instructional videos showing people how to make Molotov cocktails to launch at the enemy.
Dangerous.
We see clear indications that the Ukrainian armed forces are fighting back and bravely defending their country.
The Pentagon says Russian troops are not advancing as fast as anticipated. The conflict, now in its third day, has killed more than 100 people and forced more than 100,000 to flee Ukraine.
I have 5-year-old kids, and
Good
I
on
have
the
also
Polish
my
side.
sister who has 2 kids,
they've had a lot of
so
internal
we are
struggle
really
over the
scared and
refugee
don't know what will happen
previously.
here.
Thousands more have taken shelter
Caused a lot of
underground,
political
many in
discourse.
subways, not
They
knowing
came
what
out
they will find when they come back out. And the White House says the president and vice president will be on a call later this morning to receive the latest developments about the situation. The United States and its European allies have already agreed to impose sanctions on Putin and at least one of his top aides. We're live from the UN. Christina Fan, CBS 2
Make some
News.
fucking friends,
Christina,
man.
thank you.
Make some friends. Well, I say make some friends. I don't mean like what they're doing here, which is literally try and make a friend, build a friend out of Ukraine. Once you've killed like 60% of the population, because I'm gonna reckon it's about that. It's probably about that. There's gonna be a majority of the remaining population. Like, MPs of AKs. I would not trust any of the MPs in my parliament with weapons. Yeah, as I said, it's taken me 2 days to really come to terms with this and what's happened, and it's mad. It's madness. I might be writing something on it. If I do write something on it, post it on the Twitter or a link to it on Twitter. Got a couple of WordPress accounts that I post different things on. So one actually named after the channel, YouTube channel. So if you Google that, I'll tweet it later today. Have a look if you feel like it. If you don't mind. And if you see this a little while down the road, that'll be it'll be on the Twitter feed somewhere. I'll pin it. Dressed down Spashif. He's scary. He is scary. I used to respect his approach. Now I'm starting to think, am I mad? Was I mad? I look at this and I think, yeah. I was mad.
Welcome to this BBC News special. In the last several hours, Russia has invaded
and I'm well there. Yeah.
Advancing on this country in several directions. Early this morning, we heard explosions here in the capital, Kiev.
Anyway, better not say anything too
major cities.
I won't say anything too spicy, because you know Russia's partial to hitting the target in the United Kingdom. So I'll leave it there. Probably might stream later this evening. An actual game, less of a concerned rant. I still don't think I'll understand this even when it comes to an end, and what end it comes to.